I'm a child of the 80s, but more the 90s. I was born in
Yeah.
87. I missed like Ghostbusters. I missed a bunch of stuff to where I can understand the appeal, but whenever I got to it later, I'm like,
I feel like you have to be right in that sweet spot of like 5th grade to 8th grade or something for that thing to be like locked in as your thing.
so on the flip side, I am the person that's like, I'm like, no, a Goofy movie is genius. It's brilliant.
Yeah. It's the perfect cast, you might say.
Yeah.
So Batman The Adventures Continue. It's only been 2 issues so far.
It is so comforting to go back and read. Warm blanket. You know, when I stayed up to midnight to read the first issue when it came out, I pulled up Batman the Animated Series soundtrack by Shirley Walker, like in one tab, and I'm listening to that as I was reading it. It feels like it's a product made specifically for me, specifically for that fan who grew up with this stuff, considers it like the definitive versions of these characters that we love. It's so cool. It's so exciting. A week after the first issue came out, they got Kevin Conroy to read it on Instagram. It was like the most fun. It was so, and his impression of Superman was the greatest. Like,
yeah, this is Clark Kent.
Hello, this is Clark Kent. I'm not available to answer your call.
So far, these 2 issues have been such a great balance between it's exactly what you remember, but we're gonna tweak it a little bit and give you some new stuff. When this series was announced, I think all of our imaginations went to like, we're gonna get Deathstroke, we're gonna get Red Hood. Like, how are they gonna do the Batman who laughs? How are are they gonna get to all of that? And I know that you guys have covered it from every possible angle. And in issue 2, where the Dark Knight Returns suit crops up, I remember it again. I'm like, man, this is so clever the way they do this. I don't know about you, I feel like this might be like the best toy tie-in comic I've ever read. Like,
yeah, well, I was gonna bring that up, is a lot of people are, that's like their complaint or whatever, is that, oh, it's all just one big toy commercial or whatever. I feel like if it was planned to be one, like purposely for that sole reason, why would they get Paul Dini, Alan Burnett, Ty Templeton? Like, they would just get, you know, random dudes that can draw in the style or whatever, like
it
myself.
Would just, yeah, exactly. They would have just hired you. No, yeah, it would have been a little paper tie-in comic book folded up in the back of the action figure when you get it. They know that there's an audience for this. They know that this audience is hungry for more BTAS and more DCAU stuff. It is clearly both a cash-in, just like everything ever, but it's also a great showcase for like some awesome talent. If that's a complaint that people have about the sanctity of a comic book art or the story or whatever, I would just go to like, look, man, that's part of it. Look at my background. This comic has made me even want to get the new figures even more so. Because those figures were announced and I thought, again, my stupid comic book brain, my fan brain thought, these are awesome, but they were never really in the show. Like, I don't have to pick them all up. It's fine. But now with this one like comic series and however long it goes, I'm gonna get every single one that makes an appearance in this book because it's all canon. It's all legit. No. The reason they fall down often is because I have Toy Story kid brain and I feel bad about gluing any of my toys under their feet. They need to be able to walk around at night.
Was that serendipitous that Tim Drake specifically fell down out of the Bat family?
He knew I was about to talk about Jason Todd.
In the like initial interviews that came out about it, went right out and just said, this is before the Return of the Joker flashback. But that'll be interesting to see if the Jason stuff has anything to do with the Return of the Joker thing, if they're so purposely like it's before that.
I would be blown away if it was. I would be really excited about that. One thing that I am really looking forward to is seeing Tim and Dick and Barbara and how they feel about Jason Todd, because that's one of the best things about Batman comics is the relationships between the sidekicks, right? Like Old Wounds is just such a favorite episode, not just because it's Dick Grayson stuff, but also like the bookends of Dick and Tim teaming up, on top of ironing out exactly what the order of events are in the DCAU concerning Jason Todd. Was he number 2 of the sidekicks? Was he number 1? I'm really hoping that like, I want to see Dick Grayson Nightwing being like, Jason's back? Like this moment of like, Tim going, wait, who's Jason? And then, you know, Dick Grayson having to explain like, let me tell you, kid, this is what happened, and this is how it affected Bruce, and this is how it affected me. And that's the really, really compelling stuff about like the Jason Todd story.
There's already in our Discord and stuff like that, memes popping up all over the place. How Batman might react to seeing Jason. One of them has been based on the opening of Incredibles.
I saw that.
Yeah, Buddy's face. He's like, I'm Robin. You're not affiliated with me or whatever.
So good. Because we don't want the character of Bruce Wayne Batman to fall into this trap that he can very easily fall into, which is you're a horrible human being for putting kids in danger, especially after a kid died. And then you look at the beautiful little cherub that is Tim Drake and you go, suit up. Like,
just do it again.
That's awful. Tim deserved better. That sucks. Tim deserved better.
There's the new hashtag.
Yeah, but I think he was at least happy, right? Didn't Tim Drake say he was like married with a family? Like that stuff was kid stuff.
That stuff was the Justice League Unlimited episode, kid stuff.
Kid stuff. Yeah, my old mentor Batman got turned into a kid, and that's when I knew
I'm out. I can't
this is
do
weird. The new Batman Adventures. I love that era so much. My favorite episode is Over the Edge. I love Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. I love things about Static Shock. I love Batman Beyond, and I love things about Superman the Animated Series. So it's like the original BTAS was great, but it was almost like
no love for the Zeta Project.
I purposely omitted it. No, I'll tell you what. If DC Collectibles put out a Zeta, if they did a Zeta Row 2-pack, I get that.
I was going to bring up, I might as well do it now, it's actually kind of funny. I think it was like the fourth to last animation investigation episode.
Yeah.
It was about Epilogue and the whole Terry McGinnis stuff. If you're watching this, you haven't seen it.
No.
Epilogue,
I know.
I know you have.
Yeah.
The title of the video, is like, why the clone thing isn't actually bad or whatever. We did a video a couple years ago that was Keep Epilogue a Secret is what it was called. Yeah. Sure. I left a comment being like, oh man, come on, keep Epilogue a secret. And all of our fans like came swarming into the comments section and left all these keep Epilogue a secret, keep Epilogue. And I was like, oh no, don't do this.
We would have to pitch the ideas to our Nerdist boss. For that one, I think our boss was like, you got to put the clone like have the most incendiary, statement to start off a thing. You just want those clicky titles. They want the titles that would make folks mad and then watch the thing, So
it worked.
Were you guys the ones that originated the hashtag Keep Epilogue a Secret? Was that you?
Yep.
That's awesome. That's great. All of the whole timeline of the DCAU is like, wait, how many years pass and how much time do you have to play with stuff? I still think that finding a way to have Jason Todd legit be Robin and legit die, and there be like a legit reason for Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson and Alfred and Barbara Gordon and everybody else to never talk about it again. There could be something there, like we might be overthinking it. They might just do the straight up normal Jason Todd sort of comic book version right up front. The creators are saying we're doing Deathstroke now because we could never do that in the 90s. And even though these comics are little bite-sized things, like I hope we do get a Jason and Bruce confrontation, and then it's like, whoa, this feels like it's Batman Under the Red Hood, the animated movie. That kind of like, that kind of confrontation could exist in the DCAU, and that's really exciting. I don't know how Paul Dini and Alan Burnett and Ty Templeton feel about Jason Todd as a character. In hindsight, they can go and refine and remix the amazing comics history that is the Batman franchise. So like,
which they already do with this universe anyway. So.
Exactly. So in the case of Jason, I know that Tim Drake, I feel like, occupied some things about Jason's origin. What does that take away from Jason? What are they going to add to him to make up for that? What are they going to do to make him different? I know famously Jason Todd in the comics was not very well liked. In fact, that's why he died. The fans voted him to get killed. So far, with just the little glimpses we've had in these first two issues, he seems like he could be the same type of very hard-headed Jason. He pulled a gun on a guy who was like, hey, what are you doing? Get out of here. Just immediately.
What are you doing standing in Crime Alley where I live?
Will the depiction be something that is made in an effort to make up for that? Or will the creators double down and make him the most unlikable in an effort to be like, fans have always asked us to do this. Well, now you're going to get it. Is that really what you wanted? Kind of a thing. Like, no matter what we learn about this specific universe or franchise, the DCAU is so amazing and so well written and so well done. You could bring in the most horrible, evil, cruel Jason Todd, and I'm going to be stoked to read this comic. And when we get out on the other end, I'm going to be like, cool, where's the next one?
Jason Todd in the DCAU. I killed 17 babies. Jason Todd in the DCAU.
Yeah, cool. The definitive version of the character.
I think it's interesting that we're spending so much time talking about a character that appeared in like 2 pages.
Yeah.
And it's just
you know why? Because the rest of the story was so solid. First of all, Batman taking down Bane really quick. Awesome. So happy to see that Bane. Love that Bane. Superman's missing. there's a giant robot. I mean, I'm just reading this and I'm like, this is awesome. This is pure DCAU goodness. That moment where the lasers shoot out of the giant robot, I legit like yelped. I was like, oh man, no way. I was so stoked.
That page in particular is really
I'm
awesome,
an idiot and had no idea that was what was happening.
We didn't watch our videos.
I should have known.
As I'm reading the comic for the first time, I'm in full Watchtower Database mode of like, this was 2 hours before this, I can link this, all that stuff. If it was just an episode of the New Batman Adventures or of Superman, it doesn't have to be this, grand continuity world building thing like we're trying to, see it as sometimes. Sometimes Superman can have an episode where he just punches a giant cockroach or whatever, it doesn't matter. The Jason Todd stuff is that moment where you get to go like, okay, continuity, and how does this work with the timeline, and then everything else is just kind of like, remember it's that episode where Batman fought a big robot, whatever. So Batman Who Laughs and Flashpoint Batman, all these figures that are more like multiverse kind of stuff. I'm kind of hoping that they show up in a nightmare sequence or something, for just like one panel so they can like quota met, we put them in the comic.
Yeah, this thing could have Scarecrow hallucinogenic moment, or if Superman has like a Phantom Zone projector type thing that's like, here, you can look into the Phantom Zone. Also, here's a machine you can look into other universes for 2 panels. Okay, bye-bye. It could just be like an Easter egg fan service type thing, right? Like in the Hellboy movie, he runs through a Halloween parade. Batman runs through a Halloween parade, and there's 2 people like, oh, check it out. That's a pretty good Batman costume, but where's the twist?
What do you think of mine?
Here's mine. I'm the Batman Who Laughs. I'm a vampire Batman. And it was thanks to you guys that I had a question to ask Paul Dini and
the Lexo suit or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Lex Luthor's in his battle suit that he doesn't normally get until Justice League Unlimited. What the heck's going on? How does he have this suit?
Well, it could be a prototype.
Oh.
And I snuck that in there. I told my DC Daily producers, I'm like, look, you guys came up with some great questions. I gotta throw one in there. Even if they had never thought about it, that's such a smart and quick to be able to both come to the same conclusion in a half a second. I'm a Trekkie also. I'm a huge Star Trek fan. And I really like the Kelvin timeline, the J.J. Abrams. I've interacted with Star Trek fans online that have been like, well, I get the explanation for how those work because Eric Bana went back in time and, split the timeline. But then they'll still get hung up on stuff like, but why are Captain Kirk's eye color different? And why does the ship look different? That doesn't make any sense. And all this stuff that doesn't make any sense. If you can come up with a reason for it to make sense, then just go with it. And anytime I've come across a fan that has voiced those like, nah, I'll throw my reasoning for it, my headcanon, and like so many times people have been like, oh, that's brilliant. And I'm like, good. Now go enjoy these movies. My explanation for those is that Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, going back in time to the 1980s.
Right.
And when they were back in time, they effectively messed with the timeline. Scotty created a new element. Years before it was, right? So he created
transparent aluminum.
Exactly. So my headcanon is the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies are in the same timeline as that. So that when we get to the new Enterprise, it looks like an Apple store. That's your explanation. And when I've mentioned that to Trekkies, they have gone, oh, thank you, cool. It unlocked that thing in my brain that kept me from enjoying this thing.
It's okay to watch it now.
Now it's okay to watch it. So I would say to fans that are, oh, is this canon? I don't know. It's just like you said. We're figuring it out as we go. If there's little inconsistencies here and there, it's not a big deal. We know as adults, we recognize why there will be. It's fine. But you can also come up with fun little fake reasons like Paul Dini going, well, it's a prototype. And then you're just like, okay, good. I can enjoy this story.
Exactly.
Which is fine. I'm just so happy that this project like exists. It's like you said at the beginning, James, like this could have been something that's a very much about like, well, this is only existing to service the toy line. So it's a little promotional tie-in, whatever. But I think that this is really great. I think that it's really exciting.
It's made with love.
It is made with love. You can tell that it's made with love. Just look at the way Kevin Conroy read it. That's love. I really appreciate you, James, asking me to come on to the show today.
Yeah, thank you really for being here.
Share my opinions, which again are none of those of Warner Brothers and DC and
little
just me, baby. Thanks.
Not that it'll help you necessarily, but if you wanted to plug anything that you know where you're at, and
yeah, sure. I am very, very lucky that I have been able to do some shows from home. DC Daily from home, which is still, they're coming out with stuff Monday through Friday. We're doing it from home. It's been awesome. Check out Hyper Heroes on YouTube, which is another great show that I do with some buddies. If you like movies, check out out the 500 Greatest Films podcast. I do it with my buddy Keller, and we're watching all the Mission Impossible movies. And it's really fun. So Mission Impossible 3, and that one is the best one, and it's so good. And then all of them get good after that. It's a bummer because I tell people, they're like, can I skip 1 and 2? And I'm like, yeah, you can, but honestly, watch them because they'll make the rest of them better. They make 3 good. It's just like,
you can't watch Epilogue until you've watched all of
them.
Thank
you.
Wasn't that fun? I certainly enjoyed talking with Hector quite a bit, and I hope you did too. Next week we'll hopefully be actually talking about Batman The Adventures Continue #3, and not just thinking that we will and not realizing that the issue doesn't really come out for another whole week. But anyway, make sure you subscribe and we'll see you next time. Okay. This was definitely not recorded before I talked to Hector. Goodbye.